driving to the cemetery. Helene driving.
No, they don't know yet because the project is ending, but they still have a lot of paperwork to do. So it's like, we don't know yet.
Alright, right at Chalmette National Cemetery. And there's a free cemetery tour. Within?
So my name's Haley. I'm a docent here at the National Park Services. I'm a junior political science major at Dillon University. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. So, who is everybody? Where are you from? From New Orleans? End of the Civil War as a final resting place for Union soldiers who lost their lives here in Louisiana. It is home to 4 people who fought in the War of 1812 and 1 person who actually fought in the Battle of New Orleans in that area over there. He is an unknown Tennessean and he was buried at the very end. So in this cemetery we have about over 15,000 people buried here in headstones, and over 6,000 of those are unknown. We're gonna come right here to this plaque. 1812 will have a shield and 1812, or it'll be a plain one like this one right here. And if it's Spanish-American War, it'll have a shield with SPAN War. If it's World War I, World War II, or Vietnam, it'll have a circle and a cross. And everything else, and everything else means that it's Civil War. Actually, that used to be where you were at. That used to be the very end of the cemetery, and the place where we're walking to used to be the beginning. So you would think all of the older headstones would be towards the end there, but actually those are mostly World War II and Vietnam, and the 2 War of 1812 that are in that area. Most of the elder ones are in the middle, where you have a lot of people dying during wartime. You don't want to have 6 funerals going at the same time. So you spread everybody out, and if an entire regiment just so happens to survive the war, then you'll have it like this section that we're coming up to right here, where everyone is buried together, and it literally, like their entire regiment is like all together. Also, if you didn't know, this is our cleanup month, so we have the Hope Project, Keep Hope crew here, and they are here to help clean up headstones. Anyone that wanted to join in can, so we have a lot of volunteers here as well.
One thing we're doing that they're doing right there is documenting all the information on the headstones. And I'm actually going to show you that in about a minute. And we have, like I said, just under 15,000 graves here, so we'll be here a while. The other thing that's occurring is that we're going to then basically combine it with existing records, so very shortly you'll be able to go online and check on this individual if he happens to be someone you had interest in. And this picture of this will appear, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And what we'd have to do is dig it up. We then measure it to make sure our hole, because we want them all lined up. You know, if you can look right here, you can see what I'm talking about. Let's take it up. They're like 5 feet in the air. Okay, that's where we worked yesterday. And we have now straightened those. They're all aligned, they're straight, they're plumb, and they look nice. We have to get a gantry and lift that out of, we dig around it, we lift it out of the grave, we sand it, and we make sure that the ground is level and strong, and then we set it back in, we put sand in and reset it.
However, it wasn't in like kit form, it was like in rows, very unique. So once they actually did very hard and thorough research of this area, they found out that after the Civil War, when the Freedmen's Bureau was still active, they had created a cemetery here for all the newly freed African Americans to be able to have a place to bury their loved ones. Different countries as well. We have people who are from the Netherlands, Ireland, Philippines, as well as some of the West Indies as well. One person that I enjoy to talk about and show off is Mr. Joseph Lawyer. He is from Dublin, Ireland. And in the course of 5 years, he rose up in rank about 8 times. And he was so cool that this headstone is erected at his feet by his friends. And this one is erected at his head by the Union's Veteran Association. He was a cool dude. Then also in this section, oh my god. Pretty much in shot, like I said, they're like, oh, they took him.
They took him?
Well, they're fixing him because he was leaning back. Oh, but
He was so cool, he's leaning back.
this is, guys, don't judge me. This isn't my phone singing, I promise. Okay, this is Alexander. He was 20 years old while he was serving in the war effort when he sadly caught yellow fever and died. Many people are aware of the fact that it wasn't just the war effort that could cost you your life. Disease ran rampant in the, not just the camps, but also in the hospital camps. I'm sorry, there's like people everywhere, so I'm like part ADHD. Alright, and ooh, I almost fell. I hope you guys didn't see that. Alright. Yes, okay. Here is Mr. Henry Fowler and his wife Sarah. He was the caretaker of the cemetery at one point, and his wife sadly suffered from, I believe it was the yellow fever epidemic, so when she passed away from it, she was buried here. fact is, they don't keep all of the caskets. If you're buried like on top of each other, they take whoever is on bottom or whatever and take you out of casket, put you in the body bag, tuck you in, put the new casket on top. Boom!
Boom!
She was able to serve in the Civil War without being discovered that she was a woman. This is
American Mulan.
yes.
Mulan's
This
tomb.
is Sarah Wakeman.
Sarah, wait.
Sarah Wakeman was born in the state of New York. She was the eldest of 5 children, and she also was a farm girl. Being the eldest of 5 children at around 19, her family had given up on the hope that she would ever be married, which suited Sarah just fine. She didn't want to get married. She liked working on the farm with her dad. When her dad revealed to his family that he had acquired a massive amount of debt, she took it upon herself to help alleviate some of the stress, some of the financial stress from her parents. So, disguising herself as a man, she would work as a boatman for about 2 to 3 years. But at the beginning of the Civil War, excuse my accent, y'all. Civil War, recruiters would come around and were looking for able-bodied young men to help serve in the effort. Sarah saw the $150 pension they promised after 1 year of service and said, yes, I'll definitely sign up. This will be a great opportunity for me to help my family. And she would enlist under the alias of Lyons Wakeman. She would actually serve and see battle here in Louisiana, not New Orleans, however. They were en route to Shreveport, where they had planned on confronting the enemy there, Shreveport, where I'm from. However, the enemy was moving faster than what they anticipated, and they would actually find battle in Alexandria. Sarah would not be wounded, however, nor would she die from the war effort. She would actually catch dysentery. And because of the war effort, the party, oh my God, that was moving her to a different medical camp would be detoured, and therefore her condition would worsen, and she would subsequently die from that. The only reason that we know Lyons Wakeman is Sarah Wakeman is due to the efforts of a descendant of one of her sisters, I believe, who was doing family genealogy and heard about the family black sheep. So, trying to figure out more on this family black sheep, she asked her grandma, who's the family black sheep? What does she do? And the grandma said, I don't want to talk about it, but there might be some letters in the attic. Reading the letters, she was like, why is this person talking like they're in war? They've signed this letter in 3 different kinds of names. And then lo and behold, she put 2 and 2 together and found out I have a cousin who served in the war under the alias of Lyons Wakeman. So Sarah Wakeman is going to be always marked by her grave with a red flower. And that is the story of Sarah, aka Lyons Wakeman. This sycamore tree. How high does a sycamore grow? Never know. Okay, on a very serious note, this sycamore tree is our peace tree, donated by the Survivors of Shiloh Association. If anybody knows anything about the Battle of Shiloh, they say it was one of the bloodiest battles to happen. They say you could walk clear across the field without ever actually touching the ground. That's how many bodies were littered in the area. So this sycamore tree is about 90 years old. It was donated, let me make sure I'm getting it right. Yeah, 1927. And the Daughters of the American Revolution donated the plaque. So right here on the, I told you we did have one person here who actually fought in the Battle of New Orleans. He is our unknown Tennessean. They say he fought here, was actually on his way home when he became ill and actually died en route to Tennessee. Therefore, because of his effort here, he was interred here. And therefore, we have our unknown Tennessean who, oh yes, has a crawfish full body.
Unknown Soldier Award.
And that's a crawfish hole. Don't stick your finger in it.
Crawfish?
Yeah. Not the one you eat.
He's going to want to stick his
No.
Don't stick your finger in it, please.
Not.
Because crawfish hole can also mean snake temporary apartment.
Get back.
But yeah, there's like just an interconnecting tunnel system of crawfish holes, and snakes be like, ooh, a nice place to chill. Sometimes they get chased out, sometimes they don't. Little kids like to stick their hands in, so I'm like, yeah, crawfish hole, don't stick your hand in. Then they stick their hand in, and I'm like, what are you doing? In silence they scream, or in silence you still hear them. Which is basically saying that even though these people have passed on, you will forever remember their sacrifices, whether they died in battle or even at home. There was always going to be a part of them that has been changed due to their efforts in the war. So, and that is the end of my cemetery tour. Yep.
Thank you for watching our video. JS Adventure is a snippet of our daily lives and travel.
谢谢收看我们的频道 ，JS Adventure 记录了我们的日常生活跟旅游记事。
Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't. See you guys next time.
下集见，
拜拜。